If the government cannot deliver on its negotiations, cannot get the conclusion of its negotiations through Parliament, then we think it's time for a general election so the public as a whole can decide who they want to be the government of this country.
Do you really think Theresa May is going to make the same mistake twice and call another general election?
If she cannot govern and cannot get her proposals through Parliament, then the government has no credibility and no ability to survive.
60% of Londoners voted to stay in the EU. You're the leader of the opposition. They're looking to you to give some opposition. Why won't you just take the simple step and say, yes, a second vote?
I don't know what the question would be in a second vote any more than you do. I don't know what the result of a second vote would be any more than you do. What I do know is there's an urgency now of getting a trade arrangement with Europe and protection of our working conditions, environmental and consumer standards. This government is negotiating, allegedly, with the European Union. At the same time, some of its ministers, Liam Fox, for example, is negotiating quietly with the USA on some sort of deregulation trade arrangement with the USA. You can't be doing both.
Is Sadiq Khan wrong to call for a second referendum?
Sadiq Khan is perfectly entitled to call for it. Indeed, I discussed it with him last week.
But you disagree with him?
I want us to pressurise for the 6 tests we've got in order to protect our trade and economic relations for the future. That is my priority.
If there was a second referendum,
it's an if.
Would you back Remain or leave?
We don't know what the question's going to be. Is the question going to be on the deal? Is the question going to remain? What's the question going to be? What are the alternatives going to be? I think the priority is a trade relationship with Europe.
Can I ask you about anti-Semitism? You had a row with Margaret Hodge. We've not heard your side of the story. What was said?
The matter is concluded. It's closed.
It's very public.
The
what
matter
was said?
has been closed.
Did she swear at you?
No, look, the matter is closed. I'm not going to discuss it anymore. What I'm going to simply say to you is, I don't tolerate anti-Semitism in any form in our lives, our society, or in the Labour Party. And I don't tolerate racism in any form in our society or our party. That's been my whole life, and that will be my life always, to oppose racism.
What do you think of Margaret Hodge?
I know Margaret extremely well. In this very town hall, she was the leader of the council, and we got along well when she was leader of the council. She disagrees sometimes, agrees other times. She's a colleague in Parliament and represents
Have you forgiven her?
Listen, the matter is closed.
One final question on day centres being closed. Sotheby Mews.
Yes.
This council, we're in Islington Town Hall, wants to close it. What do you think of that?
Sotheby Mews Day Centre is a very good day centre that provides a place for older people to use and many other organisations to use. The council wants to redevelop it into housing when there's a desperate housing shortage. It's building a new community centre which is very good, and that's being built on Highbury Fields, which is not so far away. Many of the users of Sotheby Mews are upset about being asked to go to a new centre some distance away. I've met them at some length, had a long discussion with them, as indeed, of course, I meet the council from time to time. And what I've suggested is that the new housing development include facilities so that those that currently use Sotheby Mews will have some facilities available for them at the place that they love, as well as what is actually a wonderful new community centre which is being built just next to Highbury Fields.